everybody to our Monday night health coach huddle. My name is Dawn Carpenter, and this is a place where we can connect as a health coach family and showcase what we do as health coaches. So please feel free to invite those that you know who are interested in becoming healthier or have a desire to help other people with their health as well. And know that this meeting is recorded and it's going to be posted to our Facebook page. And looking forward to a great evening tonight, guys. Thanks. So tossing it to you, Craig.
Thank you, Dawn. Awesome. We've got some fun guests on today. I know that there's two people that are here that are guests. And I'm going to start off with Jamie, and hopefully Jamie will be able to say a few words. I unmuted you, Jamie, but tell us how you heard about what we're doing here, and maybe just a little bit about your interest in health.
Okay. I'm not sure. Can you still not see me? Is that, or can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Yep. You're good to go.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I hope that everybody's well. I live in Colorado, and I heard about this from Linda Benson, who's a coach. And she and I go to the same church and kind of got chatting. But my interest in health has been long-term, I suppose you could say. I grew up just very active as an athlete. I played soccer. And then in college, I got into the sprint triathlon. And now just kind of run and hike. And I'm a certified yoga instructor, though I'm not teaching anywhere currently. And that's kind of more of the exercise side of it. But I also noticed that the foods that I ate sort of became like medicine for my body. I have just some medical issues. I have an autoimmune disease and a few different things. So food to me also, the fuel for my body, the nutrients for my body started to become really important to me. And when I feel well, I can interact and engage with the world much better. So that's kind of my health background, as you could say.
Awesome. We're glad to have you here. And I basically invited Jamie to come to kind of check out what we do with our process, kind of the Optivia way of how we incorporate healthy living and all that it includes, to come and meet you guys tonight. So thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you betcha. And so next up, we've got Amy, and Amy is in the Spokane area, actually. And so she's decided, been a client for a while and has decided to join us as a coach. So I'd love to hear a little bit about, share a little bit about your journey and maybe one thing that you're excited about coaching.
Well, I've always struggled with my weight ever since I was, a teenager, and I've gained and lost so many times, and even a lot. Not just 10 or 20, but 50 or more, and I gained it back. So I was looking at several different health plans to find something permanent, a permanent solution. And I always thought that if I could find a way to, walk the walk and not just talk the talk, but, a combination of those things, that it would help me, myself, and it would be a much more satisfying life for me to help others in what I know to be such a physical and emotional struggle, that it would really be meaningful to me to be able to help you know, even just some of the members in my family that I know struggle. I have a niece who's over 300 pounds right now. And, you know, she and I commiserate over this stuff all the time. So it would be great to be able to help others and help myself in the process.
Do you mind me sharing one of the before and after pictures?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a before and after picture of Amy here. Pretty exciting. Can you guys all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. So great. Well, we're glad to have you on the call here and getting to know the rest of the team, and we'll I'm sure we'll hear more from you. It'll be exciting to see you grow and watch that process. It looks like everybody else is a familiar face. So welcome back, everybody. So the what we want to talk about next is we had some stuff on the leadership call that we did, and so some of you attended the leadership call, and some of you didn't attend it. But they talked a lot about the whole idea of how we have a conversation with somebody that's a brand new client or before they're just interested in health. And so what we're going to do is we're going to jump off into some breakout rooms where we can just we'll take just 2 or 3 minutes to kind of go through the things that you heard on the call, and then we'll bring you back together. And then we got a short segment on what we call the superpowers of coaching, which is something called structural tension. And so we're going to go into that in just a minute. So I'm going to toss you guys into breakout rooms here. And so just click on this button on your screen. And then if you go to a room where nobody's listened to the call, you can just share a little bit about your stories. And we'll call you back in about 3 minutes.
Is listening to what others do, because I do get frustrated, and I feel like I'm following the plans, and it's just like they'll pop up with another plan to go with. It's like, excuse me.
Yeah.
But in a nice way, of course. It's just
Right.
So I'm just listening to what they say and how to go down the list, because I went down it with my sister once, but it didn't follow through because I couldn't get in.
Oh.
So.
All right. Well, that was a first time sort of attempt. Sorry,
okay,
guys.
I wasn't sure what was going on.
Yeah, it was the first time attempt at bringing us back, and I think it brought us back all very abruptly. But we're trying to basically cover more ground. So sorry if you were in the middle of a conversation. I know Tina was right in the middle of her sentence. But we're going to try to go to that in the future, where we break out into small groups where we can all discuss our takeaways from the leadership call, and then kind of come back together and have that happen. So we're still figuring this new idea out. So sorry about that. You can finish your salad now, Tina, right? Yeah. Hi, Bessie. Good to see you. All right. So what we're going to do, one little piece of information, and then we're going to get right into structural tension. And the piece of information is that the Optavia Connect is going to be offline for 2 hours tomorrow. No. Whoa. 1 hour tomorrow, and it is going to be between 6 and 7 a.m. Pacific and 9 and 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you're trying to get into the Optavia Connect tomorrow, it'll be down for 1 hour. And they told us to mention that to everybody. But the next thing I want to do is basically go through something called structural tension. And structural tension is a way, it's what everything with Optavia, the whole methodology behind the structure, like the principles behind it all and how it all works, and why the alternative doesn't work. And so Just with a quick raise your hands, how many has heard of structural tension before? Okay, 3 of you, 4, 5. Okay, so a few of you have. So basically structural tension, like on your map, if anybody has done a map, you start at the top of the map with where you want to go. It's kind of it's your target. And then you work down to where you currently are. And it's like you create tension. If you think about it, it's almost like there's a big, huge rubber band and you run out to the place you want to go. Let's say you want to go to Hawaii and you stick a big pillar in the ground and you stick the rubber band around it. And then you run back to where you live now. And it creates this tension pulling you to your destination, right? And a lot of people, what they'll do is they're not trying to get to some place. They're almost trying to get away from some place. You're trying to get less bad rather than more good, if that makes sense. And so I'm curious with a show of hands as what do you think the difference between kind of a oscillating cycle or the problem solving method versus the creative process or the structural tension? Anybody want to take a stab at those two different models and how they work? Go ahead, Lynn.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time?
Which part?
Your question.
Oh, the difference between the what's called an oscillating cycle, which is things are bad. You try to get them to be less bad, or you try to get away from the badness. And as you get away from the badness, you have less badness, right? Versus the creative process, or it's called an advancing structure, where you're not trying to get less badness, but you're working towards a goal, and the kind of the differences between those two and why one of them works better than the other. That's the question. How about you, Cassandra? Want to take a stab at it? What do you think would be the difference between those two?
Well, usually you want to try to focus on like the positive thing. You want to focus on the good rather than the bad, because even if you're trying to get away from the bad, you're still thinking about the bad. So I would think thinking about the good would be better.
Mm-hmm. Yep, true. That's good. How about you, Trisha? Do you have any comments on that? Any additional comments?
Well, if I understand the question right, I guess one would be the first model you said, you would be focused on the positive and still be worried about the bad. Whereas having a goal, you're constantly worried, you're constantly focusing on the positive to meet that goal. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Well, imagine those are great. And just to clarify, in chapter or lesson number 3 in the Habits of Health workbook, it talks a lot about this. But one of the things that you might think of is the scenario where, let's say someone's depressed and they're on depression medication. Well, when they're on their medications, they're not feeling very bad. So they say, I don't need the medication. So they stop taking the medication. And what happens? They get depressed. So what do? They go back to taking the medications. What does the medication do? Makes them not depressed. They think, I'm not depressed. I don't need the meds. They stop taking their meds. That's called an oscillating cycle. Another term for yo-yo. You really look in the mirror and you see yourself and you go, ah! And so then you do some kind of a program and you start to like the way you look in the mirror, which means there's less pain. And then what do? You kind of slack off on your program. And what happens then? Well, then the weight comes back on. Well, when the weight comes back on, you start going, ah, again, right? And it's just, right? It's the yo-yo. And so Dr. A, and working with Robert Fritz, is focusing on, if we focus on where we're going, not where we're coming from, and we constantly are advancing. Here's another question. Imagine if your goal was to have better communication with your wife or your husband. For most of you guys are ladies. So I just think of it from my standpoint. But if I was trying to argue less with my wife, does that mean I learn how to communicate well? maybe not so much, right? But what if I'm trying to communicate well? Do you think I'll argue less? So as I focus on the thing I want, I will automatically use all of my energy to get what I want. And in the process, I'll do less of the things that don't get me what I want. And so this is that whole idea of moving towards what you want. Make sense? Everybody getting that? You following me there? Yeah. So we're going to do a quick little work exercise. So get a piece of paper and a pen. Have that out in front of you. And what you're going to do, let me see if I can actually, I might even be able to draw this up so it's nice and clear with all of you. So what you're going to do is at the top of the page, you're going to draw a little bit down from the top, maybe an inch. You're going to draw a line. And then under that line, you're going to draw desired outcome, right? So that's the top piece there. Then about an inch below that, you're going to draw another line. And under that, you're going to draw the value to me. So what's the value of that outcome to you personally? So that's the top portion of what we're dealing with here. And let's draw a box around that. This is the real important stuff right up here at the top. Okay. Then at the bottom of the page, you're going to be drawing another line. And below that, you're going to put current reality. Anybody want to take it just a stab? Because current reality is maybe not terms that you'll use all the time, but what do you think I mean by current reality? Is it so obvious I don't even need to ask it?
What is going on in my life right now?
That's right. If I were to take a Polaroid,
I was going to say, this looks so familiar, Craig. Wow. I think I have about 5 of these since we talked.
Oh, that's so great. So
we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, so you have desired outcome is the thing you want. It could be called a goal, but it's whatever outcome. That doesn't mean necessarily you're going to acquire a thing. It might be a friendship. It might be a character trait. It might be, I don't know what it is, but it's just the thing, something or some way of being that you want to possess. You want to become that. And then this is the part that is new here, is what's the value of achieving that? That's where the energy comes from. And I think it's really important you spend some time on, this is basically why you want that. Got it? And then in between here, these are called secondary actions, right? And so you're just drawing a bunch of little, copy, I guess I can't copy paste. How about them apples? So you're doing a bunch of small lines here in between, and these small lines are going to be the secondary actions, is what Dr. A says. It can be however many actions there are. And then over on the right-hand side, you might have a little line with the deadline or the due date, because some of these ones. Yeah.
I think there needs to be a small disclaimer on this, because sometimes, and I figured this out on my on my rubber band charts, okay, that sometimes these secondary actions may be a structural tension chart all by themselves.
Yep. Yeah, and Dr. A, when he explained this, he had these little check boxes. If you happen to have a secondary, like sometimes he would put a box next to it and put a check box in it, and that meant that in order to complete this one little task, like what if this was, top was being healthy. My desired outcome is to get to a healthy weight and fit in a bathing suit. And one of my secondary actions was stay on the 5 and 1. Well, if you're having a hard time staying on the 5 and 1, you might want to have a structural tension that the desired outcome is stay on the 5 and 1. And then and the reason why, and what are my secondary actions to stay on the 5 and 1? So it can get a little bit deep, but we're just going to start with the basics from right now. And so what you want to do is think about, let's actually work through this with somebody. Does anybody want to like raise their hand and we can just talk through a basic, how about you, Amy? Just because you're first time on here. And can you think of a desired outcome that you, just something fairly simple in your life?
Well, I wrote down something decidedly not simple.
Oh, fair enough.
Confidence in my body image.
Oh, okay. Okay, and what would be, in just for time's sake, just one or two values, reasons why that would be valuable for you?
I would be happier and healthier. Well,
Okay.
I guess being healthier is part of it.
Yep. What about like attractiveness with your spouse, anything like that?
Yeah, that too. That'd be good.
Is attractiveness, is that a word?
I don't know.
Yeah. Any other reasons why confidence in body image?
Just to be mentally not depressed. I mean, I guess that's happier, but just to be mentally steady.
Yeah. Okay. And then current reality, what would be your current reality as it relates to your desired outcome? You'd say it's improving, maybe?
It's improving. It's improved a lot, but I got a long ways to go.
Okay. Any other way that you can quantify current reality? Like that may be related to an actual weight, that may be a dress size, that may be I can only run a quarter mile, or I don't feel comfortable wearing skirts, or something or a bathing suit probably. Those are just some ideas.
Yeah, I'd love to, I think my goal is somewhere to stay steady between like 140 and 150.
Okay.
I started at 200, and when we were looking for those before pictures, I don't think I realized how bad it was at that time.
So you've improved a lot. So your current reality is you're between 140 and 160 now?
I am. Yeah. Well, I'm at 160. So 160. And I would like to stay under 150.
Under 150. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be your desired confidence body image, and to stay under 150.
Yeah. I think one of the things that has always been so hard for me is that I fluctuate, and then I spend money on clothes, and then I change from that weight, and I put those clothes away, or I get rid of them, and then I change again, and then I have to buy more clothes. And inevitably, whenever I'm going to go on a big trip, I have this lovely blessing that my sister is a wholesale clothing rep. So I go over to her house and say, help, help. But I have boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of clothes, tucked away in places that are, size 10, size 6, size 16, size 18, I've got it all. So, and I never want to get rid of them because I'm always fearful that I'm going to go back to being that, the bigger size. And
right. So that's another desired outcome would be confident in ability. to maintain. Excellent.
Yeah, that would be pretty huge for me.
Yeah. So this is really great and super.
That I could stay there.
Yeah. Well, and I think that you can. Well, that's so. What would be one of the secondary actions? Something you did recently that would help to build that outcome.
Was staying on the 5 and 1. Is that what you mean, or?
No, I mean. I got to go through my spelling program. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you decided to coach.
Right.
Is
Yes.
to accomplish that goal, right?
Right.
It's one of the reasons. It's not the only one, but it's one of them, I think.
Right. Yes.
But yeah. So that doing that is going to support that goal.
Right.
And probably, I don't know if you're going to stay on the 5 and 1 because the 5 and 1 will eventually end, but you want to basically own.
Right. For now, though, I mean, I need to stay on it for now. I got another 15 or so to go.
Got it. What's something else you could do?
Exercise.
Okay. What would that look like? That, and exercise could be a whole structural tension, right? Because you could have a lot of detail there, but maybe it's 1 to 3 times a week. Is that too much, or is that week? Or maybe for
that would be an increase of 1 to 3 per week. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe for 15 minutes minimum. What other things you can think of? I mean, obviously we're just going through this as an example, but these are going to want to be. So if exercise 1 to 3 times a week is something that's a challenge, you may create an own structural tension around that, and then have all the necessary components that you're going to need. It's almost like this is the recipe. The top is brownies. The current is no brownies. And what is my recipe for making brownies?
That's a really bad analogy.
It's a really bad example. Yes, it's horrible. But you guys get the point there, right? Thank you, Amy, for jumping in and being a great partner. I'm curious, as I won't delete the drawing. I'll still have it there, but maybe it did go away. Anyway, it's still there. Good. So I'm curious, by a show of hands, questions about what that looked like or clarification about how this works. You see how she's moving from where she starts with where she wants and why. Don't forget the why. I have one client that journals every day 3 values, 3 reasons why that. So he takes his reasons why and he journals about those every morning. So he's so connected to why this desired outcome is important to him. And then he stretches it back to the reality, and then he's just doing his tasks.
Hey, Craig.
Yeah, go ahead, Christina.
So really this can get like as detailed as you want. Like it doesn't, I mean, cause like one of my structural tensions is like stay on the 5 and 1. Okay. Well, sometimes that's not just eating 6 times a day and drinking all my water and getting all my sleep. Sometimes that's me saying, I need to go for a walk so I don't put my nose in the refrigerator or, something like that. And then I can create a whole nother structural tension chart over going for walks and exercising. So, I mean, it can get as detailed as you want it to be. I mean, there's really no limit to how, because it really, what I noticed for me is that it opened up so many different avenues in my thoughts. Like, okay, this is where I want to go. So what's the next step? Okay, well, the next step is this. Okay, well, what is involved in the next step? Well, you have to lift your foot up and then you got to put it down on I mean, maybe not you, Craig. I mean, you're on wheels and stuff, but yeah. I mean, like it literally takes that kind of process. Well, you lift up your foot about 6 inches from the ground and then you move it forward and then you put it down. And I mean, it really takes that sometimes to be able to get closer to that desired outcome. It may take 5 staircases to get to the top of a building, but at the same time, what's that next step that will get you closer?
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing is, like with brushing your teeth, when you're a kid, having a structural tension chart, to help you brush your teeth. But it's a habit. We got it. You don't need a
Right.
structural tension chart if it's a habit. We're
You would
talking
hope.
about doing something you want to do that you've not been able to, or something that's so important you don't want to miss anything. I know when I'm having a party or having like family over, you know, you make a little list of some things that you want to get. If you're going grocery shopping, you don't want to forget anything. You make a little list. So think of this as, this is so important, I don't want to miss a step, and I want to focus on building what I want, and here's where I'm at. And what happens in your brain is there's another fancy term called cognitive dissonance. And your brain does not like cognitive dissonance. It likes to have homeostasis, where what I want and what I have are the same thing. And one way to feel, I don't know if this will relate to all of you, but for me, a technology guy, when a new iPhone comes out and I watch the video about the new iPhone, I'm like, cognitive dissonance, because I look at my phone and I go, this is a year old and that new one is shiny, right? And so my brain says, I need that new one, and it wants to move towards it. Or it might be a special dress or a purse, or maybe it's a vacation. You see this picture of this sunny beach and you look out your door and you go, rainy sky. And so your brain says, no, and it wants to resolve what you want or where you want to be with where you are. And what will happen, the latest book I'm reading, is your subconscious mind will actually start going to work and start solving the problem even when you're sleeping. If you write it down and show it to your brain, this is where I want to be, and then you basically share with your mind, that's not where we are. It goes, wait a minute, no, right? And so that's what I was talking about, how it can be a superpower. You can make your subconscious mind work on your behalf while you're sleeping. So focus on what you want and then stretch it back to where you are and then move towards what you want. Here's the only caveat, is one day when you get to Hawaii and your rubber band's not tight, you need to go take that desired outcome goal and stretch it out to the next one. Having a next goal. I know, have any of you guys signed up for like a 5K or a 10K or something, and then as soon as the 5K was over with, you felt like your life didn't have any meaning because you trained so long for that event, right? And you're like, what do I do now? I'm listless. So it's always a good idea that maybe the week of the event, before you even do it, pick your next race and go register for it. And that way, when it's over with and there's no more tension, you have another tension thing pulling you towards the next thing. Okay, so you guys understand the concept. Any questions just here as we're kind of finishing up here about this topic? And okay, go ahead, Lynette.
I think I'm just going to get with you one-on-one, because I'm following what Christina is talking about. I think you can get caught up, like, okay, I want that, and it seems like a pretty simple goal, but you can be thwarted and derailed and sabotaged by the 5 tiny steps that are in between you and that small step. And then you're not accomplishing that small step. Like, I don't know, like, and is this the old one? I don't know if anybody, can you see that?
They'll work, it's fine. But
they'll work.
You saw the new one I just created, because you don't even need a fancy piece of paper. You just need some, you know?
Nice.
I had a guy tell me I couldn't do my structural tension chart because I didn't have the copy of the printout. And I was like, okay, we'll make you one.
Well, here's my question though. Like, could you have a secondary action that actually needs to be its own desired outcome?
Yes. Like staying on the 5 and 1. You betcha.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So Dawn is going to close us out here with some great takeaway tips and ways to move forward from here. Take it away, Dawn.
unmuting. Oh, thank you. Okay, guys, so this week we'd like to really challenge you to think of a goal. You know, it could have to do with your own personal health, could have something to do with your business, could have just a task to do around the house, you know, but pick something. We really would like everyone to pick something and create a structural tension chart. And if that's something, or you're still kind of fuzzy about what a structural tension chart looks like or how to create one, your job then is to get to your mentor and figure out, you know, okay, let them help you walk that through. So right now, before you unplug, grab your phone, and, or if you can do it on, you know, if you can open another screen on your computer, if you're on a computer, and send a text message to your mentor and either let them know, yep, I got it, and I'll let you know. You might not have your idea right this minute of what you want to do a structural tension chart on, but at least let them know that you will be connecting with them this week about whatever that goal is. And then if you are somebody who's stuck, that text message should say, help, you know, I need help creating a structural tension chart. And so one of those two options. So in the next 30 seconds, all of your coaches should be getting a text message. And we'll be moving forward. And if you are a coach that is mentoring other coaches, you know, that's your role then to reach out and help them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, if you understand the way it works and you got it, let them know you got it, and then send it to them when you get it, when you have yours. And if you need help getting there, you're just saying, I just need help. I need help creating a structural tension. Yep. Awesome. Perfect. And then
all right,
we're going to be talking a little bit how to use your structural tension charts to grow your business and help your clients. But we wanted to start this week with you. Sound good? Yeah. All right. I hope to hear from each one of you. If I'm your primary mentor, even if I'm not, you want to send it to me, you can do that and just say, I got it, or I need some help. Because if you master this, oh my goodness, this will be such a powerful tool. So thank you, Dawn, for your closing us out nicely. And we are super long, Christina. So you bring that one-on-one later with me. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.